Good morning, everyone, and welcome to session 3 of Saturday School with Dr. JBG3. And today it's all about how do you know it's working? Now, as all of these sessions have really been geared towards all of our home educators out there, one of the questions that I've received over the last couple of weeks is how do you know if the strategies that you're actually using with your home school education or your home education plans are actually working? So today I want to be able to provide some tips, with our foundation of being able to set routines in session 1, session 2, looking at the social emotional learning, the anxiety, overall behavioral issues that you may see at home and some of the same things we see in the classroom. Today is more of a reflection as we're looking at how do we actually know it's working. So for all of our home educators out there, a quick way, besides doing the normal quizzes and tests that may have happened in the classroom, a quick way to find out is to ask the students to kind of repeat back the information to you in their own words. Can they write it down or summarize it? Can they put it in a paragraph for you? And one of the best ways that these things always happen is when the students get the opportunity to quiz you as the teacher. That makes things fun. Now, there may be a little bit of competitiveness that kind of goes along with it, but it makes things fun if the student gets the opportunity to take on the role of the teacher. And this will also give you some insight into what the students actually know, because one of the first questions they're going to ask you as they're trying to stump you or trying to show you how smart they are going to be the things that they are the most familiar with. To me, that's always really important to give our students an opportunity to really take control of their learning, because that's what it's all about. As we move into this fourth 9 weeks, several school divisions across the country are either not teaching any new material, or here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, we are actually being allowed to teach new material. So how can you reinforce what may be happening with online learning platforms, or how can you ensure that the students actually have mastery of the material that they learned when they were physically in school? Now, in the Teacher's Lounge, Chapter 3, under Teacher Reflections, I kind of give 10 important characteristics that many people say, or research itself says, that are good characteristics of a teacher, such as ability to be flexible, building relationships, classroom management, communication skills, having high expectations. And parents, we all know that you all have high expectations for your students. Knowledge of the subject matter, knowledge of their students, organizational skills, professionalism, and years of experience. Those are 10 qualities or characteristics that research says are aspects of a good teacher. Now, we all know that we try to be as supportive as we can to our students. And sometimes in education, we make the assumption that the work that's being sent home, or the material that's being discussed, or even the actual plan is really easy for everyone to understand. But for all of our official professional educators out there, you have to make this as easy as possible for everyone to understand. I learned a quick lesson a couple of weeks ago when some feedback that we got from some of our constituents in Suffolk Public Schools asked, what about answer keys for these elementary packets that we were sending home? And I know that our teaching and learning team probably made the assumption that you can figure this out because it's elementary work, but you never know the educational background of the people that are at home, or how long they have been out of school, etc. So we have to be flexible and assume that anyone should be able to teach this material, or at least be able to reinforce a lot of it. So parents, as you're figuring out how is this working, or how do you know this is working, you have to be able to have small checkpoints along the way. Is there going to be some type of summary exercise at the end of each day? You all heard me talk about in session 1 with routines, how my daughter Simone, for her writing assignment, was summarizing everything that she kind of learned for the day. And right now, the focus always has to be with the foundation of both reading and math, because reading is going to be the piece that's going to really be cross-curricular through all subject matters. And math, as we all know, is something they're going to have to use in the real world, but it's also one of those federal and state mandates that both reading and math are going to be the foundation of learning. So as long as you can do different types of activities that allow your students to be able to show what they know, that gives you insight into what they do not know, and then you can use that as part of the review for the next day. That's something that has to continue throughout this entire process of us really having this distance learning, virtual learning, learning from home, whatever terminology you want to use. It's always going to be important that you take the time to get some student feedback, but just don't always make it an assessment, okay? There is a such thing, ladies and gentlemen, as test anxiety. So there has to be other informal ways that you can assess your student or assess your children based on the types of questions you ask them. And be careful not to prompt them too much that leads them into the answer. You want to be able to make sure that your student is being able to put the answer into their own words. That is so important as we continue to find ways to educate our students at home. We have so many tips in the Teacher's Lounge. There's always a reflection activity, a learning activity, a group activity at the end of every chapter. We want to try to make that book as interactive as we possibly can. As you're doing your assignments at home, switch it up. Try to make those as interactive as you possibly can. Thank you all for tuning in today. Again, session 3, how do you know it's working with Dr. JBG3?